get real, child. Let's get real.
Hi, glad to have you with us today, and I hope that you'll share this video and watch the whole thing. I know in our short attention span age, short videos kind of get a lot more attention than long ones. But friends, I cover a lot of ground during this talk, so it's not going to be repetitive and kind of beating the same old theme over and over again. We're going to talk about a lot of things, so I hope you'll stay with us. So today, Jen and I are going to talk about some of the incredible inventions that FOI Group LLC has, which its funding organization is FOI Equity Inc., which is a great opportunity for accredited investors to be able to participate in what can be a game-changing gain of wealth while making the world a better place. Isn't that what we all want to do? Make the world better while we also make a living. So today we're going to talk about power and how power is hard to quantify, and many people don't understand. We all just know we go to the light switch and flip it and the lights come on, but there's a miracle of technology involved in making that happen. And one of the dangers we have is that the whole system is vulnerable in 4 ways to being put out of commission, where we all die with a lack of electricity. It can be a cyber attack. It can be physical sabotage. It can be a nuclear EMP, an explosion of a nuclear weapon in space that generates a huge pulse of electromagnetic energy that just fries everything, even our cell phones, even supposedly makes the cars not work. And then there's the really big issue of the sun, which can emit a massive coronal mass ejection of energy that hits the Earth's magnetic field and creates enormous electromagnetic energy that can literally burn up the transformers and wires. You can go online and search for the Carrington event of 1859, which was a large solar storm that happened that was recorded by Mr. Carrington, where he had a telescope projecting the image of the sun on paper and was drawing a map of the sunspots and things he was tracking. And of course, during this coronal mass ejection, there were massive flares and very dramatic settings. So he recorded this and is recorded in history as the man who mapped out this phenomenon that was seen globally, because the northern lights, believe it or not, were seen in Florida so bright you could read a newspaper by them. So anyway, I'm concerned about a loss of grid electricity and thinking we need to get away from the long distance wires as much as possible. So my area of invention is a problem solving. When if I hear a problem, I start thinking of a solution. And a long time ago, I started thinking about other ways to generate electricity that don't depend on long distance wires. As an engineer, I hate inefficiency and waste. It makes me feel bad to only use part of something. And we waste a lot of the energy in fuel, whether it's nuclear fuel, coal, natural gas, even solar and wind. There's tremendous amount of waste moving the electricity from a remote site to the end use, with the losses in the wires and the transformers being 15% or more of the energy. So if you generate power locally and use it locally and set yourself up where you can use all the energy productively instead of just part of it generating electricity, you can have a more efficient system and one that's more resilient to disaster. So if you don't rely on big transformers, you're not vulnerable to somebody shooting a transformer with a high-powered rifle and destroying it. If you're not relying on long distance wires, you're not vulnerable to a massive solar storm burning them up or a nuclear EMP. So one of the things I think about a lot is problem solutions. And we've recently filed a patent on what we call the zero emission power combustor system, which offers a bold new way to make power and distribute it to uses. Believe it or not, friends, right now, one of the major uses for power is powering things on low voltage DC. And guess what? Half the energy of the AC power is lost making low voltage DC to charge your cell phone or power your LED lights or power your computer. So that again, as an engineer, grieves me to think about that inefficiency of so much energy being lost. Where only a small fraction of the energy that was burned out in the country to make power ends up actually doing productive work. So I've come up with a different way to generate low voltage DC for large uses such as data centers and installations that need a lot of low voltage DC. With our zero emission power combustor concept in total, which uses a novel design steam boiler, which has internal combustion of natural gas and filtered oxygen, with excess filtered oxygen to burn up wet biomass inside the boiler. Normally, when you burn something that has moisture, the moisture steals some of the energy from the fuel. But when you burn wet material inside a boiler, the moisture is all productive steam. So the heat used to evaporate the water is productive use. It's not taking away. And wet biomass has more energy in it than dry biomass, because when you dry something, you evaporate some of the volatile hydrocarbons that the miracle of photosynthesis produces. So if we're going to get real, we need to be able to burn wet biomass instead of dry biomass. So instead of dried out wood, burn that fresh wood that's just full of those valuable carbohydrates that evaporate away when you dry the wood down, leaving it on your log pile for 6 months. Anyway, my system can even burn algae and sewage. The idea is to use the filtered oxygen and methane flame, which burns at a temperature of 4,000 degrees with excess oxygen, so it's like a cutting torch, quickly heating the wet biomass, evaporating all the water, and with the excess oxygen and heat, just combusting all the carbohydrates for very efficient combustion to produce more steam. We can introduce more water into the boiler to cool the walls of the pressure vessel and provide a source for more steam. We can use this high pressure steam to power a steam turbine to make electricity or do other loads. But my idea for an EMP-proof way to make power for things like a data center or a military installation is to use that steam to power a steam-powered pump to pressurize water and then condense the steam at a high temperature and use that heat to power a heat-powered refrigeration system called absorption refrigeration, which can produce lots of cooling. So we chill the water and send that cold pressurized water into the data center to power novel design water engines that spin a generator to produce low voltage DC directly, and using the cold water to chill the computer chips, which need to be cool, because basically a computer chip is just a heat factory. It converts electricity into heat going through all the circuitry. But by not wasting 40% of the energy converting from AC to DC, we have a lot less heat in the data center to deal with in the first place. So it's a win-win situation, and we are very excited about it. And friends, if you want to learn more, go to fullofideas.com and we'll be glad to share more with you. Isn't that interesting, Jen?
It's very interesting. I didn't know half that. So I'm like, okay, tell me more. How does it cool again? And what are we trying to cool? And I mean, is this something we would put on someone's house? Is this a small model, a community size, a large urban city? I mean, how can we use this? Is it effective on every level like that, or what would you say?
I think it has multiple uses. And one of the things I think about, because I'm very concerned about an end to grid electricity, is having a community that can survive without grid electricity. And one of the things this power system allows is having both hot and cold pressurized water flowing into all the buildings to do space conditioning as needed.
Oh.
And also provide the low voltage DC power that are really the essentials of modern life. Our loads of the past, the old incandescent light bulb, you can't even buy them anymore. LEDs are now the thing. LEDs are low voltage, so we need that good low voltage power. The other thing that's a real nice thing about this system is it gets away from the danger of electromagnetic fields from the AC power lines running through our houses. And there is medical evidence that electromagnetic fields from our cell phones and from all of our high voltage wires and everything running around, that those cause health effects.
They can, that is for sure, especially when they're random and they're not organized electromagnetic fields. Because there's a lot of medical study right now on those where it is a controlled environment, not a random event. So random electromagnetic fields that enter the house and are like that. Yeah, there's a lot of, you can get a lot of discomfort and problems with that.
So we're making a good difference, and it's exciting, and I hope people will have a website up, zeroemissionpowercombustor.com soon, but you can go to fullofideas.com and there'll be a link to the sites when they're available. We're real excited. We just filed a patent on this just a month or so ago.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's very exciting and a real game changer. If you are interested in learning more, please go to fullofideas.com and reach out to us. And we have a great investment opportunity. We think this can be a game-changing technology. And
I know everyone's looking for the new electric, fix for the world. And
to take it a little further, because we take the mixture of CO2 and water vapor through the turbine and make power with it, it's productive. But then when we condense the steam after the power process, the water is fresh water that can be used, but the CO2 is left over and can be captured and used to grow algae or used in greenhouses to boost productivity. I like the algae growing, which is sharply enhanced by having plenty of CO2 in the water to make the algae grow as fast as possible. And then we can biodigest the algae for natural gas to power the process. So this can truly be a reliable, renewable power system that works on a cloudy day like today and provides the reliable power when you need it at night, when the sun's not shining. So we're using the sun to grow algae fed by the CO2 from the process and the CO2 produced by the biogas digester to have a wonderful system. So I hope when you think about things, you'll realize there are better ways to do things. And I'm a disruptive inventor. I hope you're going to stay with our show and come back and see us over and over again and share this show with your friends. I'm trying to make a difference I've written a book about climate change, of a way to make the world carbon negative while we still use oil and gas. You could go on the GetRollTV.com site and see that, and see a link to get my book. But this invention solves a lot of the problem by creating a way where we can have zero carbon emission power combustion and have the added efficiency of a more efficient process, because having the combustion inside the boiler uses all the heat from combustion usefully, whereas having an externally fired boiler has hot exhaust going up the chimney into the air, and the water produced by the combustion of the methane or natural gas is just wasted in an externally fired boiler. So by doing it inside the combustor, inside the pressure vessel, we capture all that high temperature water that in the filtered oxygen natural gas flame is at 4,000 degrees. So it heats up the other steam and water to produce a higher pressure, higher temperature, super efficient steam to give a higher efficiency than conventional boilers can achieve. So we're real excited about it, and I hope that you will check us out and share the good news that there is a better way to make power, and that we can keep moving. So enjoy things. Check out the rest of our programming on GetRollTV.com. And if you like what we're doing, we have a support link on our website, and we desperately need support. There's nothing better for a speaker than getting applause, but even better is getting people to pay to hear him talk. So I'm eager.
Yes, David, we can't wait for you to have that opportunity.
Yes, I'm very eager to have that opportunity. I've been self-funding a lot of my activities.
So if someone would like to hear you speak, can they put in a message down below, and then you'll be able to get back with them, and we can show up on scene and say hi?
Yeah, and we're going to be having events around, and we'd love to get your support. You can also go to fullofideas.com and see more. We have a GoFundMe page on fullofideas.com. So if you want to make a small contribution just to kind of pat us on the back, we'd love to get that support. So go to fullofideas.com and scroll down to the GoFundMe video, and there's a link that you can make a contribution. It's no hassle, just a simple pat on the back saying, "Good job, David." And I hope you all have a great day, and please share this video. Thank you.